Hi everyone, today we are going to talk about some traditional sailor handcrafts. Today we are going to learn how to put a lanyard on a thing. Lanyards are helpful because if you have your keys and you drop them, I don't know, into the Potomac, it's very difficult to get them back. Not impossible, as it turns out, because I did that once, but difficult. If you have them on a lanyard and you drop them, they don't go anywhere. It's great. So we will be learning what's called a 4-strand round senet. It's a type of twisty braid. It's easy and hopefully it'll be easy to follow along. First things first, we are going to find some string with which to make our lanyard. Now I am using very large string in 2 different colors to make it easier to follow along. Traditionally you would make this out of what you had around. A lot of traditional sailors' crafts are made out of things that were readily available around them. So scrimshaw being etched into bone, if you're a whaler, you have bones. If you have meat in your stew, you have probably bones, sometimes of questionable species, but that's neither here nor there. So this is just some string that we found and we're gonna give it a go. So you wanna figure out how long your lanyard should be. Generally speaking, you don't want it a whole lot longer than you can reach. So this is my Marlin spike lanyard, and it's about as long as I can reach at the extension of my reach. So I don't really want it much longer than that. It's also good if it can be off the deck when you drop it, but you know, we can't have the best of both worlds. So I'm going to take, this is approximately 2 fathoms of string, maybe a little less. It's definitely less. It's 1.5 fathoms. And I'm gonna middle it, and we're going to just tie a real quick overhand knot here in the end. There are different ways that you can start the senet, but this one's gonna be what is easiest. So I'm going to tie an overhand knot so that I can attach it somewhere and you can see me work on it. All right, folks, we've tied our overhand knot here in the end. And we have just dropped it over a pin because that's something that was convenient so that the end is held. All right, to start the senet, I have 4 strands. I have 2 white and 2 black. I'm going to make sure that they're it's white, black on here so that you can see what I'm doing, but in general, they'll all be the same color. So, unlike 3-stranded braiding, which is always putting something into the middle, we are going to have the different sides do different things. So I'm going to start here on my right, and I'm going to put this black string over the first string it encounters. It's traveling left. I will put it under the next string it encounters, which is the other end of itself. It's that black string. And I will put it over the last white string. What that does is it sets up my next pass and makes the first move for me. So this white string is next, and we're going to go under this black piece of seine twine. The next string it encounters, it will go over, and it runs into its buddy here on the other side and goes under. Once again, that sets up this side with the first move. So I've already gone over, I'm going to go under and over again. And we just keep doing that for a very long time until you have a lanyard. So I'm going to finish braiding the rest of this off camera, and then we will talk about how you can attach it to the thing you want it to be stuck onto. All right, folks, I am here on the deck of Providence, and we are going to be going over a couple of different methods for attaching a lanyard to a thing. Of course, the simplest method for attaching a string to something is to just tie a knot in the string. I will leave that to you. I believe we have a video about bowlines and how to do them. The next simplest is probably an eye splice. We are going to be showing you how to do an eye splice in an upcoming video, but I do not know exactly when the publish date for that will be. So you can put an eye splice in it. This one I did a very long time ago. It's kind of fuzzy, but it still holds. Anytime you put a kink in a rope, like if you tie a knot or if you put a splice, you decrease the object's strength. But seine twine, which is used in commercial trawling operations, has a strength that's a little ridiculous sometimes for the things we use it for. so I'm not too worried about it breaking when I drop my knife. I, of course, would never drop my knife, but hypothetically speaking. Seine twine is very strong. That part's not hypothetical. Another method is, I've got here my Marlin spike lanyard. It has an eye in the end made from when I doubled over my string, and then I took another piece of string and I just did some French hitching all the way around and melted the ends. I did that on both ends. The Marlin spike as well has an eye with French hitching. That one doesn't take very long. It's just half hitches over and over, and it's kind of classy. The third method I have going on here is my knife lanyard. On one end it's got that eye splice, and the other end it has also an eye splice, and then a grommet with French hitching and a very tight Turk's head going around the handle. This is a good method for when your knife does not have a dedicated hole in it, like my Marlin spike does over here. I also cross-hatched the handle to make it a little grippier. You have to get the Turk's head very, very tight in order for it to not just slip off and drop your knife. All right, so the time has come to attach the other end of this braid to my belt, and I need an eye in order to do that. So how I'm going to do that, I am going to take the two black threads and I'm just going to put an overhand knot in them. This is not an official, like, knot tying guild sanctioned method of doing this. It is a method that works with the supplies that you have. Okay, I take one of my white threads and I double it back on itself. I will then weave it into the braid following itself for a length of time. I like a few inches just so it can't escape down the road. But for this, I will just do a couple of passes. Okay, so here we are. We're gonna finish the end of this braid. I've taken the ends of the white strings and woven them back along their own path into the braid. That'll help keep them secure. I would do this a lot farther up if this were a real lanyard, but it's for a demo, so I just did a few passes. Now I have two loops. It's important to make sure that they're the same size so that you can distribute the load evenly. And I'm going to take our black strings, the ends of our black strings, and I'm going to do French hitches around this loop. So I'm going to go and do a half hitch over and over and over. It's super fun. On both sides. Now I'm going to do them in opposite directions so that when they meet in the middle, I can tie a reef knot between the two strings. So I'm going to do this very loose. You would want to do this as tight as possible because this part functions as your chafe gear. This is the part that will keep this loop here from chafing through and you having to redo your whole lanyard, which is not fun. So I get to the middle. I am going to tie these two strings into an overhand knot. I am working with very tiny amounts of strings. You would want to leave yourself more than this, and I will make that super tight. Now the string we're using here is really extra big so everyone could see what I'm doing, but in itty bitty string you can get that reef knot really tight. You can melt the ends, smush it all together so it stays, and that's your lanyard. You attach it to your belt and you can take your knife aloft. All right, folks, that is our introductory lesson into how to make a lanyard, part of a series that we're going to be doing on traditional sailor handicrafts. So we will see you next time here on the deck of the Providence, and we will learn a new skill. It'll be fun, so I hope you will join us.